Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are cracking the code on what is, for so many people in India, one of life's biggest challenges, the government job exam. And we're going to do it by looking at the story of one man who didn't just pass the test, he beat it 10 times over.
Look, if you've ever tried to prepare for one of these exams, you know this feeling. It can feel less like a clear path and more like like an impossible maze. You've got endless coaching centers, conflicting advice online, and just this constant pressure to succeed. But what if there was a better way? What if there was a map?
To help us find that map, we're going to look at the story of someone who didn't just find a way through the maze, but completely mastered it. He achieved this many successful job results all in just 3 short years.
So, the big question is, how on earth did he pull that off? Let's dive into the strategy of Ankit Bhatti, a man who went from a small village to a highly sought-after position in the Ministry of External Affairs by using a really unconventional and honestly powerful approach.
Okay, so first things first. To really get why his advice is so powerful, we need to understand his track record. This is where his credibility comes from. And frankly, it is nothing short of astonishing.
Just look at this list. What's really wild is the sheer speed and the variety of it all. Between the ages of just 18 and 21, he wasn't just passing one type of exam. No, he was clearing posts across all sorts of different departments. This isn't about getting lucky once. It's about building a system for success that you can repeat again and again.
But here's the thing. This incredible journey didn't start with a string of wins. And you might think you know this story, right? The hero fails before they succeed. But what's different here is that this one specific failure, well, it holds the absolute key to his entire philosophy.
So imagine this. You're 18 years old. This is your very first big attempt at a government job. You clear the written exam, you even pass the physical test, you are at the absolute final hurdle, and then boom, you're disqualified. Talk about a soul-crushing blow, and all over something you felt was totally out of your control.
So suddenly, he's faced with this crushing reality. The dream of a job in the police force was basically gone, unless, of course, he wanted to undergo a very costly and uncertain eye surgery. This was a massive decision, and it was one that would completely change the direction of his career.
And this, right here, this is the crucial point of the whole story. He made the tough call. He decided to forget about the police job. He put on a pair of glasses, and he redirected his focus. That single moment of rejection didn't break him. It actually forced him to build a brand new and way more powerful strategy from the ground up. Okay, so how exactly did that one setback launch him towards 10 different job offers? Well, he didn't just decide to study harder. He completely changed the game. He came up with a radical new way to think about preparation.
He had this incredible realization. The secret wasn't to chase one job title after another. No, the real key was to build an unshakable foundation in the core subjects. Think of it like learning the alphabet before you try to write a novel. Once you really know the letters, you can write anything.
And this one quote, man, it just says it all. Don't run after the job post, run after the subject. This single shift in perspective is the absolute cornerstone of his success. He argues that pretty much every single competitive exam out there is built on these 4 pillars. If you can master these subjects, really master them, then no exam is going to be out of your reach. You're not just preparing for one opportunity anymore. You're preparing for all of them. It is a total game changer.
So that's the core philosophy. But the question is, how does this timeless advice hold up today in our crazy, chaotic online world? Let's take a look.
So while online learning gives us this incredible access to information, it also creates what I like to call the YouTube rabbit hole. Students can waste months, literally months, just hopping from one channel to the next, trying to figure out who the best teacher is, without ever really starting to learn anything. So his solution is this really clear, actionable process. You do your homework up front, you check out your potential mentors, but, and this is the absolute key, once you make a choice, you have to commit. You stop second-guessing. It's all about finding your guide and then actually trusting them to lead you through the maze.
All right, last section. And honestly, this might be the most important piece of advice in this whole explainer. He gives us a massive dose of reality to counter a very common and very dangerous myth in the world of exam prep.
Come on, we've all seen these interviews, right? The exam topper who casually mentions they cracked the whole thing with just a few months of light study. Well, Ankit warns that this kind of advice isn't just unhelpful. For the average student, it can be downright dangerous. And that's the real question you have to ask yourself, honestly. Is that same strategy really going to work for you? For the vast majority of us, Ankit Bhatti's answer is a very clear and very loud no.
And this table just illustrates the disconnect perfectly. See, toppers often come from a totally different academic background, or they just have a different learning curve. Their strategy reflects their unique journey. So trying to follow it is like trying to use a map of Delhi to find your way around Mumbai. You are bound to get lost.
So, the real takeaway from all of Ankit's experience is this. You have to build your own strategy. You have to stop comparing your Chapter 1 to someone else's Chapter 20. Base your plan on consistency, on realistic goals, and on a time frame that actually allows for deep learning, not on someone else's highlight reel.
Ultimately, Ankit's journey teaches us that real success doesn't start by copying somebody else's victory. It starts by learning from your own setbacks, building a powerful foundation, and writing a plan that is uniquely yours. So the question is, what's your strategy going to be?